You've downloaded EDDMaps, you've logged in. I'm going to talk about some of the cool things that we've got on the app to start with that you can utilize. We've got species information. So when you've chosen your location, that is a catered list of invasive species that could be found in your area, including a number of things that might not be that common. But feel free to look through this. We've got plants, insects that you can look through, diseases, fungi, wildlife, right? So we've got a number of different species that you can look through to determine if you've found one of those. So it's sort of like a field guide. We'll have different pictures, and a lot of times we'll have descriptions here as well. And if you've got a specific species in mind and you want to look for it, there's a search function at the top as well. So we call that the field guide portion, or the species information portion. So to actually submit a record for EDDMaps, what you can do is you just click New Sighting, go to Add Edit Species, and there'll be a drop down that you can pick from, or you can just hit Search here at the top and say we want to report a Cuban tree frog. Oh, hold on, I've picked plants. There we go. Cuban tree frog's gonna be right there, but I can search for it also. And so once you've selected that species, it's there. And then to add a picture, all you gotta do is take a photo, or you can select a photo from your library. So for our purposes, we'll just take a photo here. And then you can mark it private or public, and all that does is hides the exact coordinates of where this report was made from. It'll still show up as a county record. But if you want to change your location, all you gotta do is tap on the map and then scroll to wherever you wanted it to be, and tap the screen, and your location has changed. It's going to default to where you're standing right now as you're filling out the form sheet. But in addition to that, we've got a report status. So say you went looking for Cuban tree frogs and didn't find any, and you wanted to make a report of not finding any in your area, you'd mark that as negative. Or if you went looking for a Chinese privet and didn't find any, you would mark that as negative. And if you did find Chinese privet but went ahead and pulled it up or treated it, you'd mark that as treated. But if the infestation is still there, you'd mark that as positive. Now, time spent in minutes is only if you're doing surveys. So for the general public, that's usually not something you have to worry about. But for quantity, so if I found a whole patch of Chinese privet, I would mark multiple. But if it was just one, I would mark one. And if the Chinese privet was already dead when I found it, I would mark it as dead. But if it was alive and I left it alive, I'd mark it as alive. And if you've got any other pertinent information, like a description of the site or anything else that you think that the reporters might or verifiers might need to know, you can include that in the notes section. So once you're done with that, you click Save on the bottom of your screen, and then it'll pop up there with Upload or Save to Queue. So what the reason we added this function is a lot of times people are out in the field taking pictures of things and filling out report forms, but in the field you don't have a lot of service. So instead of every time you fill out a report, your phone going into the trying to submit things mode where it just sits there and drains your battery, you can save it to your queue, and then it'll go sit in your upload queue. So at the end of the day, after you've found all these species, you can come in and upload all right at one time.
And then that's it?
That's it.